How many times have you heard these phrases? He's just a friend. There's nothing to worry about. You're overthinking. How many times have men ignored them, only to find out later that things weren't as innocent as they seemed? Here's the harsh reality. When a woman is hiding something, she won't always lie outright. Instead, she'll be selective with the truth. She'll say just enough to keep you from asking too many questions, while quietly covering her tracks. Could be a past relationship she hasn't fully let go of. Could be a habit she doesn't want you to know about. Or it could be something even deeper, something that changes the entire foundation of your trust. And if you're not paying attention, you could be walking straight into a situation where you're being misled, manipulated, or worse, wasting your time on someone who isn't being honest with you. So in this video, we're breaking down 7 warning signs that a woman is hiding something from you. If her words say one thing, but her actions tell a different story, you need to open your eyes before it's too late. Now, before we dive in, take a second to like this video and subscribe to Brothers the Stoic for more wisdom on relationships, self-improvement, and the art of seeing the truth beneath the surface. Let's begin. Number 1. Her stories don't add up. Have you ever asked her a simple question, and her answer feels off? Maybe the details are too vague or they keep changing over time. One minute she says she was out with friends. The next, she slips up and mentions something that wasn't part of the original story. This is a huge red flag. When someone is telling the truth, they don't have to remember what they said before. Their stories are consistent because they're based on real experiences. But when a woman is hiding something, she has to carefully construct her lies. And unless she's an expert manipulator, small cracks will begin to appear. Pay close attention to how she reacts when you casually bring up something from the past. Does she get nervous? Does she hesitate before answering? A woman with nothing to hide won't feel the need to over-explain or get defensive. But if she starts fumbling for the right words, avoids eye contact, or suddenly changes the subject, chances are she's covering something up. Another trick is to ask the same question in a different way days or weeks later. If her response is inconsistent, you're dealing with deception. And here's the key. Never ignore that gut feeling. The mind can be tricked, but your instincts will always catch what your eyes refuse to see. At the end of the day, a woman who values honesty won't make you question her words. She won't leave gaps in her stories or make you feel like you're piecing together a puzzle. So if something isn't adding up, trust yourself. The truth is often hiding in plain sight. Number 2. She becomes overly defensive. A woman who has nothing to hide will answer your questions calmly. But if she's keeping something from you, her first instinct will be to get defensive. Instead of reassuring you, she'll flip the situation back on you. Imagine you ask a simple question like, "Who were you with last night?" Instead of just answering, she reacts with, "Why are you even asking? Don't you trust me?" This is called deflection, a tactic used to avoid addressing the real issue. When people feel guilty, they often try to make the other person feel guilty instead. She'll act offended, accuse you of being insecure, and turn the conversation into an argument. Why? Because if she gets you focused on defending yourself, you'll forget about the original question. Another sign of defensiveness is over-explaining. Instead of giving a straightforward answer, she floods you with unnecessary details. She might tell you what time she left, what she was wearing, how her phone battery was at 27%, and how she bumped into an old friend, when all you asked was, "Where were you?" Here's a test. Ask her something casually when she's not expecting it. If she answers normally, great. But if she suddenly acts irritated or accuses you of being controlling, that's a red flag. Honest people don't need to prove their innocence. Their actions and words naturally align. If a woman truly values your trust, she won't make you feel bad for asking simple questions. But if every conversation turns into a battle, you need to ask yourself, why is she so desperate to avoid the truth? Number 3. She starts hiding her phone. A woman who has nothing to hide won't feel the need to be secretive about her phone. But when she suddenly becomes overly protective of it, something isn't right. Think about it. Did she used to leave her phone on the table but now keeps it face down? Did she never care about privacy before but now takes her phone to the bathroom? These changes in behavior aren't random. They're calculated. A major red flag is if she suddenly adds a password or changes it without telling you. A woman who values transparency won't mind if you pick up her phone to check the time. But if she snatches it away like it holds classified information, she's guarding something. Another subtle sign is how she reacts to notifications. If a message pops up and she immediately turns her phone away, locks the screen, or rushes to reply without letting you see, that's suspicious. An innocent person wouldn't feel the need to hide normal conversations. Pay attention to how she behaves when she's texting. Does she tilt the screen away? Does she get irritated when you glance in her direction? Even worse, does she start leaving the room to take certain calls? A woman who suddenly needs privacy for basic communication is usually keeping something from you. And here's the real test. If you casually ask, "Who was that?" and she acts annoyed or evasive, you've hit a nerve. Instead of a normal answer, she might say something vague like, "Oh, just a friend." But if it was truly innocent, why not just be upfront? Some women will even accuse you of invading their privacy just for asking a simple question. This is a manipulation tactic to make you feel guilty for noticing her behavior. But here's the truth: trust and honesty go both ways. If she has nothing to hide, she wouldn't be acting like she does. At the end of the day, a woman who respects you won't create unnecessary secrecy. She won't panic when you're near her phone or feel the need to defend harmless conversations. If she's suddenly guarding her phone like it holds all her secrets, chances are, it does. Number 4, she becomes emotionally distant. When a woman is truly invested in a relationship, you feel it. She's engaged, affectionate, and emotionally present. But when she starts pulling away, it's not random. It's a warning sign. The first thing to look for is a change in her energy. Does she seem less excited to see you? Is she distracted when you talk? A woman who's emotionally invested will make you feel like you matter. But when she's hiding something, she might withdraw without an obvious reason. Another major red flag is if she stops sharing things with you. Maybe she used to tell you every little detail about her day, but now she's vague and distant. When a woman suddenly becomes less open, it's often because she's investing her emotions somewhere else. Physical distance is another clue. Has she stopped being affectionate? Do her hugs feel less warm? Does she avoid eye contact or pull away when you touch her? Attraction isn't just about words. It's about body language. If she's no longer comfortable being close to you, something is changing. Pay attention to how she responds when you express concern. If you ask, "Is everything okay?" and she just brushes it off with a cold, "I'm fine," she's shutting you out on purpose. A woman who values the relationship will communicate. But a woman who's hiding something will create emotional barriers to keep you from seeing the truth. And here's where it gets serious. If she starts making excuses to avoid spending time together, that's not normal. If she used to love date nights but now she's too tired or too busy, she's deprioritizing the relationship. And more often than not, when a woman distances herself from one man, she's getting closer to another. The harsh truth? When a woman starts pulling away, it's rarely by accident. Something or someone is taking up the space she used to give to you. The worst mistake you can make is ignoring it and hoping things go back to normal. They won't. The only way to find out the truth is to confront the situation head-on before it's too late. Number 5. She becomes overly defensive when questioned. A woman who has nothing to hide won't react aggressively when you ask her simple questions. But if she suddenly becomes defensive, dismissive, or even angry when you bring up certain topics, it's a sign she's hiding something. Think about it. Have you ever casually asked about a guy she spends time with, and instead of a normal answer, she snaps, "Why do you care?" Or "You're being paranoid." That's not a healthy reaction. A secure and honest woman would reassure you, not attack you. Defensiveness is often a psychological reflex when someone feels exposed. If she reacts with hostility when you ask about her whereabouts, her phone habits, or her friendships, she's trying to shift the blame onto you. She might accuse you of being controlling or insecure, just to make you feel guilty for questioning her. But deep down, you know when something doesn't feel right. Pay attention to how she flips the conversation. Instead of answering directly, She might say things like, "Why don't you trust me?" deflecting instead of addressing the concern. "Are you accusing me of something?" making you the bad guy instead of being honest. This is why I don't like relationships. You're always suspicious, playing the victim to avoid the real issue. Another major red flag? If she starts bringing up past mistakes to justify her behavior. She might remind you of times you upset her, just to turn the focus away from what she's doing now. This is classic manipulation. If she's more focused on making you feel bad than proving her innocence, something is definitely off. Here's the real test. If you calmly ask, "Can I see your messages with him?" and she freaks out, you have your answer. A woman with nothing to hide would laugh and say, "Sure, there's nothing there." But if she panics, snatches her phone away, or suddenly calls you controlling, she's guarding something, and that should concern you. At the end of the day, the truth doesn't need to be defended so aggressively. If she reacts with extreme emotion every time you question something reasonable, it's because deep down, she knows you're getting closer to the truth. Number 6. She starts acting differently around you. One of the biggest giveaways that a woman is hiding something is a sudden change in behavior. If she used to act one way and now she's completely different, something is shifting, and it's not in your favor. First, look at her mood swings. Is she unusually irritable or distant? A woman who's hiding something is often battling internal guilt, and that guilt manifests in the form of frustration, coldness, or unnecessary arguments. She might pick fights over small things just to create distance between you. Another clear sign, she stops being affectionate. If she used to hold your hand, kiss you, or initiate intimacy but now avoids it, that's a problem. Women are emotional creatures. When their feelings shift, their physical actions follow. If she suddenly seems uncomfortable with your touch, ask yourself why. Pay attention to her schedule. Has she suddenly become busier than usual? If she used to have time for you but now always has plans or seems vague about where she's going, that's not a coincidence. A woman who is truly invested in you won't create unnecessary distance. One of the most alarming changes, she starts treating you differently in public. If she used to show you off, introduce you to friends, and be proud of your relationship but now acts detached when others are around, it could mean she's emotionally pulling away, or worse, keeping her options open. And here's the most subtle, but important clue. Her guilt shows up in small, random acts of kindness. If she's hiding something, she might overcompensate by suddenly being extra sweet or buying you gifts out of nowhere. She might start acting too nice in an attempt to cover up whatever is making her feel guilty. This is known as guilt-driven generosity. The biggest mistake you can make is ignoring these sudden changes and assuming they'll pass. They won't. A woman doesn't change for no reason. If her energy, attitude, and attention have shifted dramatically, it's because something or someone is influencing her emotions behind the scenes. And here's the brutal truth. When a woman starts acting differently, she's either getting closer to someone else or preparing to leave. Either way, you deserve to know the truth before it's too late. Number 7. She avoids eye contact and becomes secretive with her phone. One of the biggest giveaways that a woman is hiding something is how she interacts with her phone. In today's world, our phones contain everything: messages, social media, and secrets. If she suddenly becomes overly protective of hers, something is off. Think about this. If she used to leave her phone lying around but now she always keeps it face down, carries it everywhere, or panics when you're near it, she might be hiding messages, calls, or notifications she doesn't want you to see. A drastic shift in phone habits is never random. Look at how she reacts when you casually ask, "Who are you texting?" Does she immediately lock the screen? Does she act irritated and say, "Why are you so nosy?" A woman who has nothing to hide will have no problem answering that question. But if she becomes defensive or accuses you of being controlling, that's a red flag. Another major sign, she avoids eye contact when using her phone. If she was open and comfortable texting around you before but now tilts her screen away or suddenly stops typing when you walk in, her behavior has changed for a reason. Guilt often shows up in body language, and avoiding eye contact is one of the most telling signs of deceit. Let's not forget about password changes. If she suddenly updates her passcodes and won't tell you, Or she starts using fingerprint or facial recognition for extra security. Ask yourself, what changed? People don't just increase their phone security out of nowhere. They do it when they have something to protect. Another subtle but dangerous sign? She starts keeping her notifications off. If her phone never used to be on silent, but now she makes sure messages don't pop up on her lock screen. She's making sure you don't accidentally see something. That's not privacy, that's secrecy. And the final test? If you ask to borrow her phone for something simple, like making a call, and she hesitates, panics, or makes an excuse, she's definitely hiding something. A trustworthy woman won't treat her phone like a classified document. At the end of the day, secrecy with a phone almost always means deception. If she suddenly starts treating hers like a vault, trust your gut, because the truth is hidden behind that screen. When a woman is hiding something, her actions will always reveal the truth, no matter how hard she tries to cover it up. The biggest mistake men make is ignoring the warning signs, hoping things will go back to normal. But the truth is, once secrecy enters a relationship, trust starts to break down. If you've noticed these signs, avoidance, defensiveness, mood swings, secrecy, or sudden changes in behavior, don't dismiss them. They're not coincidences. They're signals that something is being kept from you. The worst thing you can do is lie to yourself when the truth is right in front of you. A woman who values honesty won't make you second-guess everything. She won't make you feel paranoid or insecure. She will be open, transparent, and consistent in her actions. If you have to constantly wonder whether she's hiding something, she probably is. So what's the solution? Communication and observation. Don't jump to conclusions without evidence, but also don't ignore repeated patterns. Have an honest conversation, but pay attention to her reaction. If she gets overly defensive, tries to flip the blame onto you, or avoids answering directly, she's already telling you everything you need to know. At the end of the day, you deserve honesty, respect, and a relationship built on trust. If a woman is hiding something from you, you have two choices: confront it or walk away before it destroys your peace. Because the truth is simple, if she truly cared, she wouldn't put you in a position where you have to question her loyalty.